you everybody for joining us today. We're joined by North 49 and Fortis. We're going to be talking about Sage 300 customer portal and payments. And I'm so pleased to be joined by Maya Green. He's the Senior Vice President of ERP Sales over at Fortis. And Peter, and also Etienne is making a appearance today. Etienne is the partner, principal founder over at North 49, and Peter is the VP of Sales. And Peter, I'm not going to even try and pronounce your last name until I get more practice. So a little bit about the companies here. We have Fortis. Fortis is a leading provider of integrated payment technology solutions to North American merchants. And what differentiates them is that they have very strong partnerships and with a multiple platform model. So they don't just have one solution that they squeeze their customers into. They look at the unique business case of every one of their customers, and they select the best solution that will fit those unique needs. And they have all US-based customer support, super responsive. They really know their customers, and that's essentially the number one differentiator. And they have a diversified network of partners and alliances that focus on the different ERP systems and a very strong relationship with those partners that represent Sage 300. And they've been doing this for more than 25 years and developing these relationships. So they really know how to understand the customer and help them succeed and grow when it comes to integrated payments and getting the lowest rate, but also helping them support their entire business through the process. And North 49 has been a Sage development partner for years and years and years. They have a great reputation, and they're authorized partners and development partners. They work with companies like Fortis. They've developed those relationships with strong other third parties that enhance their own offering. So what North 49 really has core competency in is e-commerce, and they'll help Sage 300 customers in developing a customer portal that integrates with Sage 300. And they're going to be talking about web intelligence and all of the different enhancements that go into e-commerce and Sage 300 and integrating all those aspects with Sage 300. They're a strategic partner, and they're not just a service provider. They've built those strong relationships that are essential to helping a Sage 300 customer thrive in using and leveraging all of the enhancements they have with the e-commerce and a Sage 300 user. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and let Maya get started with customer payments, integrated payments with Sage 300.
So we're going to talk about some mistakes to avoid with credit card processing contracts. Not a lot of people talk about that, so it's something that we like to dive into. We do service and support all of the Sage products across the board. Specifically, we're talking about Sage 300 today. Fortis is a leading provider of integrated payment solutions on a multiple platform model. We do work with a diversified network of partners and alliances, and we want to become the go-to solution for anything credit card payments, anything integrated in the industry. So feel free to reach out to us for any of those needs, any questions that you have. The way that we look at it is more of extension of your business rather than a payment processing sales group. So we have been in the industry for a long time, and we've done probably right around 2,000 Sage 300 installs of payments integrations across the board. So there's not a lot that we haven't seen. So we're going to talk about early termination fees and long-term contracts, what that looks like in the standard term. So when you're talking about signing up for payments, you have a lot of integrated options and a lot of good companies as well. So what you have to look for is a couple of main points in a contract for payments. First and foremost is the term. How long am I locked into this thing, and what do they provide? Generally, standard is a 3-year term agreement. So keep that in mind. Most people will try to get you to sign up for a 3-year term agreement. You can negotiate it, down from there. We always recommend a month to month, and that's what we do for our clients. Obviously, ERP clients are a little different than others, a lot bigger accounts, a lot more processing volume, and that's one of the big reasons to make sure that you're on a month-to-month contract so you have flexibility. So when you sign up for an agreement with a payment service provider, what you want to do is you want to make sure that in the clause there's a mutual indemnification. What you'll see a lot of times is a one-sided indemnification, and the way that I've been explained, from attorneys is that mutual indemnification is just a mutual insurance policy for both parties. Basically, they're taken care of just in case something were to go wrong. If you're in a contract with a one-sided indemnification, then generally the provider is the one that's protected and you are the one that has to kind of work from the bottom. So mutual indemnification is something that you want to see in every one of these contracts. If it does not have it in there, you want to negotiate it in there. So make sure that that is in there. Exclusivity. So exclusivity is basically saying that you'll be exclusive to one payment partner, and that you will not reduce your processing or leave them before the term is up. Exclusivity is a form of liquidated damages, essentially. And basically what happens is they tie you into that contract, you're exclusive to them, and if it drops by any percentage, then you have to pay the terms of the contract. Usually in a liquidated damages contract, you're paying the amount that you made the company in profit times the remaining months on the contract. So if you sign a 36-month contract, you do 24 of those, you make them say $400 a month, then you're paying the $400 a month times the remaining 24 months on the contract. Now, some of these contracts you'll see are much more profitable than that for these providers. So you would see a big hit when it comes to trying to get out of the contract. Now, let's circle back to liquidated damages. What happens in a liquidated damages contract is you, again, are held to one processor, one provider, and to get out of the contract, you have to pay the liquidated damages set forth in the contract. And so most of these, again, are the remaining months on the contract times the amount of profitability that you would pay or that you would be making that provider, right? There are other stipulations in there that you would see. Could be, equipment that you owe for, travel time, it could be setup, it could be them helping with an upgrade or whatever. So it's open-ended. You want to avoid liquidated damages in these contracts. That's something that we can help you avoid. We do have people on staff that can walk you through this and assist in any questions that you might have, even if you're not our client. Okay, so rate negotiation, and basically this is one of the other most important things to most people, right? And they generally don't know how to do it, but you're generally paying what the processor charges or what you can work out with them, and you're paying interchange or what you pay to the card brands. So Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Discover charge everybody the same way, the same cost, and the only thing that you can negotiate is what you pay to the processor, right? And the way that you do this best is to know the average rates and fees of your industry and your specific situation. What type of business are you? Always require an annual rate review once a year, it shouldn't be hard for your provider to set that up for you. If they're not willing to do that, then you probably want to look elsewhere. We always do that for our clients. All you have to do is ask. We'll make sure that it happens. Never accept a tiered pricing structure, because what they're doing is they're bucketing your rates into one of 5 different buckets, and you never know what you're paying to the processor as opposed to what you're paying to the actual card brand. Always request to work with a manager, somebody important, definitely not a commissioned employee, because then you're not getting the best go forward. And a lot of times you are getting turnover in those positions, so you don't have the same person to work with month over month. You want a long-term employee that can make decisions and help you out, with everything that you need. Support your industry. So as I said before, we have done a lot of installs throughout Sage 300 in that client base. And you see the type of businesses that use Sage 300. Again, we are industry experts when it comes to anything Sage 300, and we have done this a lot. So there's nothing or not much that we haven't seen and probably cannot help you navigate. We're happy to do that. Again, even if you're not our customer, not our client, or don't have a contract with us for payments. So equipment leasing, a lot of times this doesn't happen with ERP, but sometimes it does, and people think, they're kind of still old school. They want to have the terminal on the counter. Consider that you do not generally need the terminal or additional equipment, because it's just something else to manage. So make sure that when you are signing up for something, somebody's not selling you a piece of equipment that you don't need. Definitely do not lease that piece of equipment, because it's basically like a car lease. You don't get any value out of it, and you can usually buy that piece of equipment outright for a lot less than you could actually lease it for. Read the fine print, because if you're being sold a piece of equipment, you generally do not, one, you don't need it in ERP for the most part, and 2, you are being tied into something else generally. If they're giving it to you for free, there may be some ties in the back end. Make sure that you're looking at the fine print there. And again, if you're getting it for free and there are no strings attached, great, and you feel comfortable with it, then use it. But most of the time in these situations, it's just another piece of equipment that you have to maintain, get paper for, and it's a lot of times not necessary. We do have Cloud EMV that allows you to have that on the table, and integrates your direct processing into the software if you do need that retail facing solution. So keep in mind, when you're getting quotes from different processors, different providers, a lot of times what you're seeing is overstated savings. And in our game, you see a lot of grossly overstated savings, and a lot of where that comes from is people touting level 2 and level 3 or interchange optimization. And what they do is they basically say a lot of these cards that will never be optimized are optimized. So a lot of times what you're seeing is, if you're in a business-to-business environment, you will have maybe 20% of your cards that can be optimized. And most of the time what they're saying is, 80, 90, 100% of your cards can be optimized, and it's just not possible. So when they're showing savings, they're showing a huge savings that you'll never actually see when it comes out in the wash. And again, a good rule of thumb is 20% of your cards, if you're business to business heavy, doing a lot of commercial transactions, you can expect 20%, but those savings are generally very big. You do want to work with somebody that is over and above, doing better than everybody else on passing that data through the gateway, or level 2 and level 3 interchange optimization. We can explain that when we do a live demo if you want to see it. Again, we're happy to set that up for you and do a one-on-one, at any point over the next couple weeks or months or whatever. work with payments consultants. And that's the way we look at ourselves. We look at ourselves as an extension of your business. We're willing to help regardless of if you are our client or are not our client. We offer multiple options, i.e. multiple platforms, so you're not pigeonholed into one. We're a neutral party. And that's what a consultant in any way, shape, or form should be, do the best for you and your business. The way that I look at it, and the best way that you can pick somebody out, is they have to have the heart of a teacher. Are they telling me what's best for them, or are they teaching me how to run my business better in what they do? Look for the heart of a teacher. That's really kind of the thought process. And then payments consultants in our industry work to find company efficiencies, savings, and gotchas that others don't, and that's kind of what we push. So what we always try to do is throw out there, take the Fortis challenge. If you want us to take a peek at your rates and fees, do a demo, we will save you money or we will pay you money, right? So if we can't save you money, then we'll pay you $500 just for taking that challenge and sending those merchant statements. I got to tell you, there's not been very many over my 18 years that we haven't been able to save money for. So, in any case, you're a winner. Take the Fortis challenge, send those statements over, and we're happy to take a peek at them, tell you where you're at and how you can do better. Real-time support, 24/7 support, and anything that you do is obviously the best scenario. It's going to be the best for your business. All of our solutions are 24/7. We do processing and support in Canada too. So this slide was not updated, but we do have support in Canada as well. And it is 24/7. It is the cornerstone of our business, and it's what we pride ourselves on most. We always give our clients and our partners our direct numbers. That's my cell phone number and my direct email. So you're always more than welcome to call me or email me. Let me know if you have questions. Again, even if you're not our client, feel free. Happy to help. All right, so let's do this. If you guys have more questions for me, you have my contact information up here. What I do want to do is offer out, we'd like to do the one-on-one presentation, show you what we can do as far as payments, the integration, the differences, and we can't fit it into 15 minutes. So I'd like to schedule a one-on-one with each of you. For the first 10, we will actually send over an Amazon e-gift card. And with that, I will turn it over to Adrian.
And Peter and Etienne.
Thanks, Adrian. So I'll just give you a quick intro here and then turn it over to Etienne. I know he's itching to show you a demo with a product. So we're going to talk about the customer portal. And the customer portal is really a customer-facing view of Sage 300. So it allows an organization to use Sage 300 to expose their accounts, that customer's account to their customers, so online, and allows them to make payments, reprint invoices, make all kinds of queries that they want. Anything that you want to expose to your customer that's in their account, they can do so. So it allows them to self-serve. And honestly, this is now an expectation. It's no longer a nice to have. People expect it. The pandemic exacerbated this, and it's just continuing on. This is now table stakes to be in business. You need to provide this for your customers. Just a little bit about the portal before I turn Etienne loose. It is a live read and feed of data into Sage 300. We do host the portal pages in our data centers, but we read and feed that data live from Sage 300. So there's no process to run, no data to upload, no data to download. It's all automatic and immediate. And I'm sure Etienne will touch on plenty more, so I'm just going to stop talking and let him do it because I know he's got a lot to cover in a very short period of time, so buckle up.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. Let's have a look at the portal, and we'll kind of start at what's probably the most common feature requested, and one which you'd probably use most of all, which is what we call click to pay. Before I fire off, just two notes. I want to reiterate what Peter said. We read and write data directly to your Sage 300 system. There is no process. So there's nothing you've got to do in the morning to get the invoices out. There's nothing you've got to do in the afternoon to get the payments in. And the second thing I just want to mention is, as I move through this demonstration, I am going to show you a portal with every feature turned on. And so there may be a lot of things on the screen which you don't use. I want to say that it is very easy for you as the owner of that portal to turn features on and off as you require. So let's get going. Click to pay is your ability to send a document to your customer which says click here and make the payment. And so click to pay would be embedded on the actual document, on a PDF, on the email that you send out to a customer. However you're going to communicate electronically with that customer, you can put a link on that document. And if you generate, for example, an email out of Sage 300 and you send that off to the customer, in that email template, you can set up that it will automatically extract that link for you. The link is very simple. So I've mocked up one here just in a Word document. Ronald Black owes us money for invoice number 61, and I want him to pay, and I'm going to ask him to click here to pay. And so Ronald Black is getting this, an email, a document, a PDF, whatever, and he's going to click that link and he's going to pay you. And that's going to take him through to your portal page, load that document, and all Ron has to do at this point is simply go ahead and pay the invoice. And let's go ahead and do that fairly simply. So this would be what your Fortis screen is going to look like. I know that it is reasonably easy to set up a screen here, which is going to reflect your company. It's not going to have our logo on here. It's going to be the form that you want your customer to see. And so let's go ahead and make a payment. And I'm going to use a MasterCard to make this payment with. Let's fill in the detail, and if all of that rest of this information is correct, I'm not a robot and I do agree, and I'm going to go ahead and make this payment. And that was how easy it was for the customer to make that payment. So customer has got your document or your email, he clicked the link, he made the payment. Customer at this point can go ahead and print themselves a copy of this receipt if they want to. They can PDF a copy for themselves. And in the background, a whole bunch of notifications are also going out. So for example, you as the merchant are going to receive an email telling you that Ronald Black has paid. So this came to us as the merchant. Ronald Black has paid invoice number 61. There was a surcharge. I'll speak on to that in just a little while. Card type, MasterCard, etc. So you got notified. Ronald Black is going to get a notification of that payment going through. We also integrate into two instant messaging services. One is Microsoft Teams, so if you're using Teams internally. The other one is a product called Slack. There are free versions of this available. If you want to make use of it, it's not going to cost you anything. And what we do is we will post notifications directly into those apps. And so here I've got a portal notifications team set up within Microsoft Teams. It has different channels. These are the different types of notifications that may come through. So I can focus the attention of whoever belongs to this team to the messages which concern them. And this payment of 2393 has now been notified in my portal, and here it is. Ronald Black has paid invoice number 61 to that amount. So the notifications are going to happen instantly. There's literally nothing you have to do. And so that was how easy it was for the customer to pay his account. What do you need to do? Well, as Peter said earlier, you need to do absolutely nothing. In your AR batch, we've created a receipt batch. And we've entered this entry into that receipt batch, and here it is, invoice number 61 paid by Ronald Black. There's nothing you have to do except complete your day and procedures within Sage as you normally would. Because we are writing this data directly into the system, we also, of course, notify or can pick up if a document starts getting double paid. So if the customer happens to hit this link again and they load up this page again, we're going to notify them that this invoice is no longer available for payment. We, in design of the portal, we of course made sure that we adhere to and honor every processing methodology within Sage 300. So whatever happens on the portal needs to be able to post directly into Sage 300, while at the same time understanding that the user of this portal is your customer. They don't know that Sage 300 is a batch processing system. They don't care if Sage 300 is a batch processing system. And so, you know, we do not want to kind of burden them with the fact that a payment is sitting in a batch, has not been posted, and therefore it may turn up a second time, etc. And so we make sure that whatever the customer perceives on the portal is going to be what they expect to see on the portal after making a payment. Okay, let's move on to the full portal then. Just some housekeeping. The top would be your logo, of course. We allocated a fair amount of real estate here for you to do that. We make it very easy for you to come and change this. So if you have your logo and some verbiage here, do business with us because we're better than sliced bread. And, you know, come July the 1st, you want to fix this and have your logo here and say, you know, Happy Independence Day. That is really easy to do. So we make the maintenance of this portal very easy for you. Your welcome message, your whatever verbiage you want to give your customer. Registration takes place in one of a number of ways. It could be an email that just says, please register me. It could be self-registration as we've got here, etc. I'm not going to waste too much time at this point. If there are any questions, we really do want to encourage you to contact us for a one-on-one demo. Let's go ahead and log in. I've created a user called North49 Portal. We do support multiple users on particular or single AR accounts, so you can have multiple people logging into the same account. The passwords are encrypted, cannot be decrypted. If I lose my password, I have to go and do a reset function. When a user logs in then, the first thing that potentially could happen is they could see one or two pop-up messages. The first pop-up message they see is just a communication between you and this particular customer, one-on-one direct. And this message that's going to pop up for the customer, you maintain inside Sage 300 on that customer account as a comment. So let me show you that. I've logged in there as customer 1600, which is Dan Penn, and I've got a comment for Dan Penn that says, Dear Dan Penn, your application for extended terms has been approved. That's the comment which has popped up for the customer over here. And what the system essentially does, it comes into the system and looks for comments by type web. And if it finds that comment or a list of those comments, it is going to pop them up for the user to see. Now, this allows you to communicate one-on-one from within your Sage 300 with the customer as they log in. And that could be anything. Your credit card's expiring, please contact us. Happy birthday, Dan. Whatever you want to say to Dan. When Dan over here says, okay, I've seen that message, what we'll do over here is just navigate away and back and get my data refreshed. Is we will then mark that comment as web ACK or web acknowledged, meaning that the customer has seen that message. So even just looking at the customer account within Sage 300, you are going to see that the customer has seen this message and they've clicked the OK button. It allows you to communicate one-on-one. Second pop-up that could potentially happen is what we call a broadcast. And a broadcast is going to be shown to every customer logging into the system. And so that would be announcements, whatever you want to broadcast to your entire customer base as they log into the portal. We do have multi-currency. Currently, we support both English and French. We are working on a Spanish version. Hopefully we can release that soon. And we are very keen to work with anybody that wants to deploy a new language on here. It is fairly simple from our point of view, and so can get that done fairly quickly. Here is what the customer can do once they're in the portal. And again, remember I said you can turn things on and off. So if you don't use order entry, just turn the function off. It's not going to be there. Within our spectrum of customers that use the portal, by far the largest customers are those that do not use order entry. So they would be legal firms, insurance companies, and so on. They do not use order entry, just turn them off. They won't be there. Account activity allows a user to have a quick look at his account. So again, this is read real time. As I click that button, it extracted this data out of your Sage real time and showing them up onto screen. What is your current balance? What is your terms code? Recent invoices, recent payments, etc. This function is going to run well regardless of the piece of equipment that you run it on. So if I'm looking at this in on a cell phone, my menu at the top has disappeared. It's now become kind of what's called a hamburger menu, which I expect to see on a phone. Everything remains visible. The lines which represented recent invoices and payments have now dropped in underneath each other. So the system remains very usable regardless of the piece of equipment that you're running it on. I can also kind of navigate back that way if I want to, or just use the menu at the top. View transactions, fairly simple. Transactions per page. How many do I want to see? Do I want to show all or open only? Open only is going to show me only transactions with the current balance, aka my current statement account. Transaction type, you have the ability to limit what a customer may see. So for example, if you don't have interest charges, just uncheck that button on your portal admin and the user is not going to see that. From here, the customer can drill down into an invoice or a document. We will fetch the original document wherever it was generated from. So if you generate a document in order entry, we're going to fetch the order entry document, show you that. If you generate a document within AR, we'll fetch that and show it to you. We have integrated solutions to other systems, like Framework is a pharmaceutical dispensing system. When you drill down into an invoice in Sage 300, we'll fetch the original document from Framework and show that up on the screen. The user can, at this point, of course, go ahead and help himself to a copy of it, print a PDF, and do whatever he wants to do with this document. Let's go on to payments. We do have the option that you may deploy, if you choose to do that, for your customers to store a credit card on the portal. I want to kind of iterate the fact that we never store a credit card anywhere. We do not touch the credit card. We stay on the right side of PCI compliance. What we can store is a token. So the customer would go off to the Fortis gateway, they would store the card, Fortis would return back to us what's called a token or a GUID, and we'll store that token, and that token can then be used to process. Storing the token keeps us still on the right side of compliance, but you can also store the token directly into the Fortis application inside of Sage 300. And so when the client does store a token, we'll have it here. There could be multiples. They can set it as a default if they want to. They can quote unquote delete it. If they do, we'll remove it from their view. We don't actually remove the token in case there are transactions that are halfway processed using that. And so we don't want to intercept that process at that point. So for this customer, we have a stored card or a stored token. So when we make a payment, we then have the option to use that token in payment. Customer can come in here, they can select various invoices that they do want to pay. They have the ability at this point to just kind of click through into an invoice to see what they are paying. You have the option, if you choose, to let them override the amount so that they can go and select to pay, make partial payments if you want to. Typically, a customer would come in here and just select all. I want to make a payment. Let's go ahead and do that. This is going to bring up their options. These options are as you have arranged with Fortis to allow you to accept payment. We do go one step further at this point, is we do allow you to charge customers on a customer by customer basis some fee. In other words, recover some of the fees that you're going to spend. It is not legal in some states, so be very careful as you do this. There are certain conditions. Fortis will be able to discuss that with you in great detail, but if you choose to use that, you may. We can control this down to a customer level. So if you have a contract with the customer that we're going to give you 2% on all your purchases, but you may not pay us by credit card, you can only pay by ACH, then you can go ahead and disable a credit card for that particular customer if you want to. So we do create it as flexible as we possibly can to allow you to contract with the customer as you choose to do. Okay. No, customers click that, and really at this point, all they do, we've selected our stored card as the option. They can use a new card if they want to. They may choose to store that card. Here is that checkbox that's going to give us back the token from Fortis, and we're going to store that token. If they leave that unchecked, then we're simply not, they're going to simply pay their account. This option you may turn on and off in your admin site globally. Or we can pay via ACH or EFT, electronic check. In this particular instance, we've set this customer up that if they pay via ACH, we're going to charge them a fixed fee of $15. If they pay by credit card, we're going to charge them a calculated amount on that. Okay, let's go ahead and make this payment. Remember, we've used the token, so at this point, there's no need for us to take the guy off to the processor again, so we don't see that Fortis screen. You can hear everything on my side go crazy. I'm getting email notifications. This is being written directly real-time back into my Sage 300. I'll show this to you only one more time, otherwise I'm going to get annoying. Just to reiterate the fact that we interact with your Sage real time, and so here is that payment that was just made on the portal, and of course all the notifications have gone out at this point. An option which you may deploy for a number of reasons is what we call a prepayment, what Sage calls a prepayment. A prepayment is going to allow you to do one of three things, and you can turn them on and off individually. But you can take a deposit or prepayment or a retainer. This will generate an unallocated cash transaction if you choose to do that. So you can ask a customer to come make a deposit of $500 on a contract or a retainer or whatever you may want to do. This does not require order entry or any other function. It's simply going to post a unallocated payment from this customer into his account in accounts receivable. You can pay a prepay and order, ask a customer to come prepay order direct. If you do, if the customer comes in and does that, we will actually mark that order as having been prepaid. So if you look at the order in order entry, it's going to show prepaid. And likewise, if you want to do that on a quote before you turn the quote into an order, you can do that. Again, you may turn these off on and off as you choose. Let's move on to orders. If you do run order entry, we've stacked a bunch of information into order entry here. And so viewing orders, of course, we can view number per page, open or all. So open is going to show me only orders with the current balance. Do I want to watch, do I want to see all active orders, future standing or quotes? View by order or view by item. View by item is just going to show the customer what they've got on back order with you. Even in viewing these documents, the customer can, very quickly have a look at a document and open it up, drill down into it if they want to, have a full look at it, come and help themselves with a copy of it, reprint a copy of it, etc. And there is a bunch of functionality which we've now stacked in here, which may not be immediately evident. Once a order has shipped, the user can click through and have a look at the shipments or multiple invoices that may have been generated from this order. If there's a tracking number, they can see the tracking number. If you choose to put the tracking number down in detail level, they can do that. They can also just have a quick look at the document over here if they want to. We do read the status of the document from the actual transaction in order entry, but we do give you the option to use an optional field for that instead. So if you have a more complex reporting that you want to give back to a customer on their order. So we've got your order, we're evaluating your order is going into manufacturer, your order will be ready in a week, or whatever you want to show, put that in the optional field. Tell us that you want to read the optional field instead, and the status is going to be the optional field. We've added additional functionality into this, which we allow you to take a quote rather than an order. and then do an RFQ, so a request for quote. So what will happen is the customer, your customer is going to come and say, give me a quote on a bunch of widgets. So here is a quote. I want to quote on a whole bunch of pens and pencils. And they can post that into the system. And you will then have a look at that quote and approve it. And once you've approved that quote, so here is a quote that's been approved, the customer can then simply come back and say, I want to now action this quote. So click the button. Are you sure you want to convert quote number 12 to an active order? Go ahead, confirm that. And the user is now going to create order number 78 in the system. And he can, do whatever he wants to do, have a view at order number 78, print a copy, and so on. Let's just go back here very quickly and have a look at that document which was now created. So if we go to order entry, transactions, and we're going to call up that quote and document. So if we go find, so here was our general RFQ for a new building. Let's just widen that. There was the quote, and that quote was then generated into order number 78, and order number 78 is here. So again, we are not working on disconnected data. When something happens on the portal, it's going to happen internally in your system. Finally, let's just have a brief look at order entry. Order entry is allowing your customer to process an order with you. So we'll read the ship to locations, of course, from AR, or they can put a new ship to that's going to be posting onto the order. They can put a PO number in here. So let's go do a Fortis PO 123. I want to request delivery on a certain date. Please ship to Maya. And, do a ship via code. Slide that out of the way just so we can process a little easier. There are 3 levels of detail we may show the customer. So if a customer says, hey, I want a calculator, we can just show them, a very basic kind of line entry on a calculator. We do have the concept of a salesperson logging in and transacting on behalf of a customer. So there's some flexibility as to whether you want to allow price overrides for a customer, for a salesperson only. That is necessary, of course, if you're a nonprofit and you're taking donations. We want the customer to enter his donation over here. We will honor every pricing model that you have within Sage. So whatever an order will look like when you process it in Sage with price list, contract pricing, etc., that is going to be reflected as the user processes the order here. Second level of detail would be to show the customer what Sage will store as the 4 additional item information lines in inventory control. So we're showing him a bit more. Let's just order 2 of these here. And this is what the customer is going to see. And then finally, it is entirely possible to also store images or pictures as the customer processes through. Now, we understand this is not an e-commerce system as in a full-blown web store, but in many cases, this is a very acceptable B2B quick deploy, inexpensive way to get customers to process their own orders online. Let's order 3 of these. And so we've now got 3 of those ordered here. Remember, our last order was number 78. Let's go ahead and place this order. You may allow a customer to either place an order or place a quote. You can, of course, turn them on and off so you don't confuse the customer here. Customer can go ahead and place that order now. We're expecting this to create order number 79. User can do everything that they usually want to do with an order, print a copy for themselves, PDF it, and so forth. And let's just go back. And order number 79 has now been generated. I just want to refresh my screen here. And order number 79 has now been generated. So here is order number 79 on my view. Let's go have a look at that. Order number 79 has now been generated over here. There are the 3 items which I posted, order 1, 2, 3, just so it's very clear. We do mark this as coming from the North 49 portal. We do flag it as an electronic commerce. So if you do allow your customers to do this and you action somebody internally to keep an eye on that, they can simply open up the Finder, say where the order source equals electronic commerce, and that's going to be the list of orders that they need to pay attention to. These orders came in via electronic commerce. You can tell the system to post them on hold, so let's refine the search and just say, show me all electronic commerce orders still on hold, and that's going to give you a list of documents that you need to pay attention to. That is the extent. There is a contact us form here, which is going to allow your customer to send you a contact us, and they can have a brief look at their own account and what those details look like internally. I see we have a few more minutes, so I'm going to take the liberty of just quickly logging into the portal as an administrator. And just show you what you have control over. I will go through very quickly. What I intend to do is to hopefully wow you and whet your appetite as to what you can achieve with this, and ask you again to please contact us for a one-on-one portal demonstration. So the first thing is kind of a dashboard. How busy am I? What am I doing? Have a look at either total or the amounts being processed through the system today, month to day, year to date, last year, and so on, who's logging in. Your control over customers, both users, so you can activate, deactivate users over here. We spoke about a broadcast message. This is how you control your broadcast message. We have a very comprehensive receipt tracking, just so that you can look up a receipt. If a customer calls you and said, I made a payment, I don't know where it's gone to. You know, bear in mind that as the customer process on the portal, they might get distracted. Sorry, I'm distracted here, and leave the portal and go elsewhere. I've been notified on the side here by Pete that I've gone over time. I do apologize. So I'm going to stop at this point and hand control back. Thank you very much for participating in this presentation.
And if I can just add, if you guys want to get a full look at this back end, we're happy to do that. Get in touch with us. We're happy to do a one-on-one with you.
There's so much to e-commerce, and it can be so detailed. So you did a great job within the limited time that we had, Etienne. We really appreciate it. I do have the contact information flashed up here on the screen, and we would love to get a chance to talk to you a little bit further about your requirements. We really appreciate you spending time with us today. All right, everybody, enjoy the weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.